In a high-profile patent dispute, Elon Musk, the famous billionaire entrepreneur, made a bold and surprising decision. He chose to represent himself in court without hiring a legal team, a move that initially caused great amusement among the courtroom audience. The judge, Laura Thompson, with over 30 years of experience, had seen it all: wealthy CEOs, high-powered lawyers, and even movie stars, yet she had never encountered someone as rich as Musk choosing to defend himself in such a critical case. Musk walked into the courtroom alone, without the usual entourage of expensive lawyers that most tech giants would employ in such high-stakes situations. This alone was enough to draw the judge's attention and skepticism. Judge Thompson could barely suppress a smirk when she saw Musk standing there, unprepared in her eyes, without the polished presentation of a professional legal team. "Mr. Musk, my records show you are representing yourself today, is that correct?" she asked, her voice sharp, yet tinged with an amused disbelief. To this, Musk simply nodded and replied, "Yes, Your Honor." A whisper ran through the courtroom as the onlookers caught wind of this surprising development. Even the court reporter raised an eyebrow in surprise at Musk's decision. To Thompson, this appeared as nothing more than another rich man thinking the rules didn't apply to him. It was a theme she had seen time and time again in her decades on the bench. She had little patience for such antics. As Musk shuffled through a mess of wrinkled papers, struggling to organize his thoughts, Judge Thompson made her assessment of him. She saw a man out of his depth, someone who was either unprepared or entirely clueless about the complexities of patent law. As Musk fumbled through his presentation, losing his place in his notes and dropping papers in the process, Thompson's initial amusement turned into slight mockery. However, what Judge Thompson couldn't see was that Musk was operating with a strategy much deeper than his disorganized appearance suggested. Musk had done something no one expected: he was playing the long game. Beneath his clumsy facade, he was setting a trap that would soon leave everyone, including Thompson, utterly shocked. His calm demeanor and seemingly unpreparedness were a well-thought-out strategy to lull his opponents into a false sense of confidence, making them underestimate him. While his performance in court that day might have appeared as a failure, it was precisely what Musk needed to set up his eventual triumph. Little did Thompson know, her skepticism and dismissive attitude toward Musk's unprofessional approach would play directly into his hands, and the real battle was only just beginning. In the courtroom, things started to take a very different turn as TechCorp's attorney, John Reeves, presented what seemed like an airtight case. His team had prepared a strong argument, showcasing their evidence in the form of slides, diagrams, and witnesses. TechCorp claimed that Musk's company had stolen their proprietary battery design, a claim they backed up with a patent filed months before Musk's company released a similar product. With each passing moment, Reeves' confidence grew as he laid out what appeared to be a foolproof case. The courtroom was filled with whispers of doubt surrounding Musk's ability to defend himself. Even the judge, Laura Thompson, continued to mock Musk's unorganized approach, expecting him to falter under the weight of professional legal minds. Reeves confidently argued that the similarities between the two companies' designs were undeniable. He presented clear timelines showing that TechCorp had filed for a patent long before Musk's company launched a nearly identical product. The timeline alone seemed to seal Musk's fate, and the evidence was stacked in TechCorp's favor. To most, it appeared that this trial would be over before it even began. The case was simple, and TechCorp had all the legal backing it needed. Reeves went on to present additional witnesses who further strengthened the case, including Dr. Alan Murphy, TechCorp's head of research and development. Dr. Murphy explained the specifics of their technology, particularly the revolutionary nano-coating that made their batteries more efficient and faster charging. Every piece of evidence appeared to validate TechCorp's claim, leading to a growing belief in the courtroom that Musk was outmatched and outclassed. Throughout this, Musk remained unerringly calm, sitting quietly and taking notes. His lack of objection and seemingly passive attitude fueled the perception that he was unprepared or had little defense. It was as though he had resigned himself to the inevitable loss. Judge Thompson, who had already written Musk off as an arrogant businessman out of his element, grew increasingly impatient with his lack of action. She was waiting for him to finally fight back with a coherent argument, but he didn't. When Musk did finally try to raise an objection, it was so poorly phrased that the judge had to cut him off. The courtroom, including the judge, couldn't help but laugh at the spectacle. They all assumed this was just another case of a tech billionaire who thought they could win on their own without understanding the intricacies of the legal system. However, little did anyone know that Musk wasn't as out of his depth as they assumed. Behind his disorganized appearance and fumbling delivery, Musk was quietly laying the foundation for a strategy that would leave everyone in the courtroom shocked. What seemed like a disjointed and unprepared defense was, in fact, a trap, an incredibly well-thought-out move designed to disarm TechCorp and its legal team. Musk had studied the case carefully, and while it appeared he was simply taking notes without much reaction, he was actually biding his time. Musk had anticipated every angle, knowing that TechCorp would underestimate him and grow overconfident. He had even gone so far as to research the judge, understanding her background in technology and law, and he knew how to exploit her biases and assumptions. As TechCorp's team continued to present their case, Musk sat back, quietly absorbing everything. He had seen this type of case play out before, where the plaintiff's legal team relied on overwhelming evidence, confident that they would win simply by presenting their case in the most polished, professional way. But Musk knew that sometimes, the best legal strategy isn't about being the loudest or the most prepared in the traditional sense, it's about outsmarting the opposition by using their confidence against them. Musk had a plan, and soon enough, it would become clear that his calm demeanor and unorganized defense were part of a larger, more brilliant strategy that no one in the courtroom had anticipated. Elon Musk's courtroom strategy was not just a defense of his company, it was a brilliant display of psychological warfare, and his carefully orchestrated plan would soon have everyone, including Judge Thompson, rethinking their assumptions. At the start of the trial, it appeared that Musk was walking into the courtroom unprepared, even ill-prepared, and everyone in the courtroom took notice. He had no lawyer by his side, instead attempting to represent himself in a high-stakes patent dispute with TechCorp. The courtroom seemed to enjoy the sight of Musk fumbling through papers and struggling to make coherent objections. Judge Thompson, a seasoned judge with over 30 years of experience, couldn't help but laugh at the spectacle before her. She had seen many wealthy CEOs in her time, but never one who appeared so out of his depth in a legal environment. His appearance was a far cry from the strategic, calculated businessman that the public knew him to be. To the outside observer, Musk seemed like a man who was either arrogantly dismissing the gravity of the situation or just simply out of his element. TechCorp, led by CEO Victor Hammond, had a strong case. Their legal team, spearheaded by John Reeves, had prepared meticulously, presenting what they believed was undeniable evidence. The facts, as they saw them, were clear. TechCorp's patent for a revolutionary energy storage system had been filed months before Musk's company had released a similar product. To them, the case appeared straightforward. They believed that Musk's company had infringed upon TechCorp's patent, and with the timeline and technical specifics in their favor, victory seemed assured. But behind Musk's unpolished performance, a brilliant legal strategy was unfolding. Musk knew that the case would be a hard one to win with conventional methods, so he opted for a strategy that would baffle and confuse his adversaries. Instead of trying to match TechCorp's polished legal team head-to-head, he decided to take a much different approach. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to expose the underhanded tactics of his opponent. Musk understood the law and knew that simply relying on standard legal maneuvers wouldn't be enough to win this case. He needed to think outside the box, using the very tools his competitors relied on, but with a twist that would leave them blindsided. Musk's suspicions had been raised months before the trial even started. He had suspected that TechCorp had not only copied his designs but had done so with the help of espionage. When TechCorp's CEO, Victor Hammond, visited Musk's facility, Musk had quickly realized that their interest in partnership was nothing more than a ruse to gather intel on his company's work. Hammond's assistant had been caught sneaking photos of Musk's proprietary technology, and Musk had made sure to gather security footage as evidence. As the trial progressed, Musk's calm demeanor belied the storm that was brewing beneath the surface. His strategy was twofold. First, he deliberately played the role of the fumbling, unprepared businessman to lure TechCorp into a false sense of security. They saw him as easy prey, a person they could dismiss as unorganized and out of touch. The second part of his plan was more subtle but equally as effective. Musk had known that TechCorp had no legitimate claim to the technology they were trying to patent. He knew that they had reverse-engineered his company's battery design, and he had the evidence to prove it. Instead of presenting that evidence immediately, he allowed the courtroom to believe that he was disorganized and ill-prepared, lulling Hammond and his legal team into complacency. The true genius of Musk's strategy came in his use of a surprise witness, Priya Nair, a former head of TechCorp's R&D department. She had been directly involved in the reverse engineering process and, when she realized the unethical nature of her work, resigned from the company. Musk had carefully cultivated her testimony and, when the time was right, introduced her as a witness. Priya's testimony was damning. She confirmed that Hammond had ordered his team to copy Musk's technology after his visit to Musk's facility. What followed next was a stream of evidence, emails, memos, and even security footage that exposed TechCorp's actions for what they were: corporate espionage. The courtroom was in shock as the evidence mounted against TechCorp. Hammond and his legal team had been so sure of their victory, but Musk's careful planning had left them defenseless. Even Judge Thompson, who had initially dismissed Musk as arrogant and unprepared, was now beginning to question her initial assumptions. Musk was not just defending his company's intellectual property, he was methodically dismantling TechCorp's entire case, proving that they had stolen his technology under false pretenses. Throughout the trial, Musk remained calm and collected, never losing focus or showing signs of panic. In the face of overwhelming evidence, TechCorp's legal team was scrambling to keep up, offering weak counterarguments that were quickly discredited by Musk's sharp questioning in the mounting evidence. Judge Thompson, who had once laughed at Musk's amateurish appearance, was now watching with growing admiration. His strategic use of surprise witnesses, coupled with the careful presentation of evidence, was nothing short of brilliant. By the end of the trial, Musk's unorthodox approach had not only won the case but had also set a new precedent for how corporate espionage cases should be handled in the tech industry. His ability to think outside the box, both in terms of technology and legal strategy, had turned the tables on TechCorp. What had initially appeared to be a routine patent dispute had transformed into a landmark legal battle that would have lasting ramifications for the way the tech industry dealt with intellectual property theft. Musk's victory wasn't just a personal one, it was a victory for all innovators who sought to protect their creations from corporate giants willing to steal and profit from their work. Elon Musk's strategy, though initially underestimated by everyone, was beginning to unfold in full. The first few days of the trial had led everyone to believe that he was utterly unprepared. He had been fumbling with his papers, struggling to make coherent objections, and even his opening statements had seemed disjointed. The courtroom, led by Judge Laura Thompson, was filled with disbelief as Musk attempted to present his defense without a lawyer. The legal team for TechCorp, led by the polished and confident attorney John Reeves, had prepared what they thought was an airtight case. The evidence appeared to be damning, with a clear patent filing history that preceded Musk's company's design by months. The timeline was solid, the technical arguments unassailable, at least on the surface. Musk, once a proud and confident tech mogul, appeared to be out of his element in the courtroom. His inability to grasp basic legal concepts and failure to organize his evidence made the courtroom laugh at him. Even the court reporter raised an eyebrow at his unprofessional presentation, and Judge Thompson had already made up her mind that Musk's approach was nothing more than a stunt, a rich man trying to outsmart the system. But what no one realized at the time was that Elon Musk's fumbling persona was part of a larger, brilliantly orchestrated plan. The billionaire had not been unprepared at all. Rather, he had been playing the long game, deliberately positioning himself as the underdog to lure his opponents into a false sense of security. He had known from the beginning that TechCorp, led by CEO Victor Hammond, had stolen his technology. Musk had suspected foul play when Hammond visited his company's facility, and his suspicions were confirmed when Hammond's team began filing a patent for a design remarkably similar to Musk's company's groundbreaking battery technology. Musk had been aware that TechCorp had no genuine interest in a partnership and had come only to scout his innovations. Hammond's assistant had even been caught taking photos of restricted areas of Musk's company's facility. Musk, ever the strategist, had planned his next moves carefully, waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. He knew that TechCorp's legal team was working under the assumption that they were facing a typical corporate patent case. The legal landscape had been carefully mapped out by TechCorp's experienced attorneys. They had a history of successful patent cases, and they assumed that Musk's company would not be able to counter their claims effectively. But Musk had been planning this case for months, building a strategy that relied on more than just legal arguments. Musk had decided to fight fire with fire, using the very same tools TechCorp had employed, but with a twist. He knew that a conventional defense would be futile, so instead, he relied on a far more daring approach: deception. Weeks before the trial, Musk had worked tirelessly with Leia Chen, his chief engineer, to gather evidence that TechCorp had stolen his designs. Through meticulous research, they uncovered emails between Hammond and his team that pointed to a clear directive: reverse engineer Musk's technology. Musk knew that proving this would require something extraordinary. He couldn't just rely on legal documentation and standard evidence, he needed something more compelling. Using his network, Musk found a former TechCorp employee, Priya Nair, who had worked as the head of their R&D department. Priya had been deeply involved in the reverse engineering process, and when she realized the unethical nature of her work, she resigned from the company. Musk convinced her to testify, knowing that her first-hand experience and inside knowledge would be the key to exposing TechCorp's corporate espionage. On the day Musk was set to present his defense, the atmosphere in the courtroom was tense. Judge Thompson had already dismissed Musk's earlier fumbling as arrogance or naivete. Even the opposing legal team, led by the smug John Reeves, felt that their victory was inevitable. They had anticipated no significant resistance, assuming that Musk would either fold under pressure or fail to present an adequate defense. But when Musk stood to speak, there was a subtle shift in his demeanor. The hesitancy that had marked his earlier appearances was gone. He appeared confident, composed, and fully prepared to take on the legal juggernaut in front of him. Instead of presenting his case immediately, Musk requested a one-day recess to reconsider his approach. The courtroom erupted in whispers, and Judge Thompson, though initially skeptical, granted the request. When the trial resumed the following day, Musk was a different person. He entered the courtroom with a clear plan, ready to dismantle TechCorp's case piece by piece. His first move was a shocker: he introduced Priya Nair as a surprise witness. The revelation of her testimony sent a ripple of shock through the courtroom. Priya, once a high-ranking member of TechCorp's R&D team, testified that after Hammond's visit, she had been instructed to reverse engineer Musk's battery technology. She had even kept a record of the illegal directive, which she later turned over to Musk. Priya's testimony was supported by irrefutable evidence, emails, internal memos, and even security footage showing Hammond's assistant taking photos of restricted areas during the visit. Musk, with the help of his engineers, had painstakingly built a case that not only proved patent infringement but also exposed the depths of corporate espionage at play. TechCorp's legal team was left scrambling, unable to counter the weight of the evidence that Musk had carefully laid out. By the end of the day, it became clear that Musk's unconventional approach had turned the case in his favor. Judge Thompson, who had initially dismissed Musk as an arrogant fool, now found herself impressed by his legal genius. What had seemed like a careless strategy was, in reality, an elaborate ruse that had caught TechCorp off guard at every turn. Musk had used the courtroom as a stage, playing his part to perfection, and by the time the trial concluded, it was TechCorp that was on the defensive. Judge Thompson, impressed by Musk's knowledge of the law and his strategic brilliance, made a remarkable admission. She apologized for underestimating him, acknowledging that his legal strategy had been nothing short of brilliant. Musk's victory wasn't just about proving that TechCorp had stolen his technology, it was about demonstrating that true innovation could not be stolen. It had to be earned. In the end, Musk's ability to think outside the box, both in technology and in the courtroom, had secured a monumental win for his company, setting a new precedent for how corporate espionage cases should be handled. In the final days of Elon Musk's courtroom battle against TechCorp, the stakes couldn't have been higher. It had started as a simple patent dispute, but over the course of the trial, the case had transformed into something much more significant, a battle over justice and the protection of innovation. Musk, who had walked into the courtroom with nothing but his wits and a messy stack of papers, was now standing poised for victory. But behind his calm demeanor and strategic legal moves, there was something far more profound at play, a story about the power of integrity and how far one man would go to protect what was his. Elon Musk had never been the type to back down from a challenge. Whether it was building rockets with SpaceX, pioneering electric vehicles with Tesla, or launching ventures into clean energy and artificial intelligence, Musk had built his empire through sheer grit and an unyielding belief in innovation. However, his journey in the courtroom was proving to be just as much of a battle as any of his ventures into space or electric mobility. The TechCorp lawsuit had started out as a simple patent infringement case. TechCorp claimed that Musk's company had stolen its revolutionary battery technology, and the evidence they presented seemed airtight. The timeline, the similarities in design, and even the specific materials used in the technology appeared to confirm TechCorp's allegations. But Musk, known for his unconventional methods, wasn't about to go down without a fight. He had quickly recognized something the court had overlooked, a crucial piece of evidence that could expose the truth and reveal the underhanded tactics of TechCorp. What followed was a careful and calculated legal strategy, one that seemed messy and unprepared on the surface but was, in fact, brilliantly executed. Instead of relying on an expensive legal team, Musk chose to represent himself in court, presenting his case in a way that would defy expectations. He started by playing the role of the disorganized billionaire, someone who seemed so out of touch with legal procedures that even Judge Thompson, an experienced and highly respected judge, couldn't help but laugh at him. His papers were messy, his arguments seemingly incoherent, and he appeared to be unprepared for the legal battlefield. In the first few days of the trial, Musk had drawn the court's mockery, but little did they know, his apparent incompetence was a carefully planned ruse designed to lure TechCorp into a false sense of security. Musk's strategy was to appear as if he didn't know what he was doing, to make his opponent underestimate him. It worked to perfection. The legal team from TechCorp, led by the polished and confident CEO Victor Hammond and their attorney John Reeves, believed that Musk was simply out of his depth. They presented their case with confidence, rolling out evidence of their patent, the timeline of the development of their technology, and their supposedly irrefutable proof that Musk's company had copied their design. Musk, however, remained oddly calm. He didn't interrupt the proceedings, he didn't object vehemently to their claims. Instead, he sat back, listened intently, and took meticulous notes. Every now and then, he would ask a question, but it was clear that his demeanor was calculated to make everyone believe that he was merely a billionaire out of his element. As the case unfolded, Musk's strategy began to take shape. Behind the scenes, he had been carefully gathering evidence to expose TechCorp's illegal activities. He had already suspected that Hammond had been spying on his company during a visit months earlier, and security footage had confirmed his suspicions. Hammond's assistant had been caught taking photos of proprietary technology while Musk had turned his back, and Hammond himself had been caught peering through windows at restricted areas of the facility. Musk had known that TechCorp had been illegally trying to reverse engineer his company's designs, but he had waited until the right moment to strike. The true turning point came when Musk introduced Priya Nair, a former head of TechCorp's R&D department, as a surprise witness. Priya had resigned from TechCorp after discovering that Hammond had ordered the team to copy Musk's designs. She had been a key player in the development of the technology that TechCorp had claimed as their own, and her testimony would be the linchpin that turned the tide in Musk's favor. When Priya took the stand, she revealed that Hammond had directed her team to reverse engineer Musk's technology after his visit to the facility. Hammond had even shown them photos that his assistant had taken during the tour and ordered them to replicate the designs as quickly as possible. What followed was a series of revelations, emails, internal memos, and security footage that exposed TechCorp's corporate espionage. For the first time in the trial, Musk took the lead. He presented the evidence in a calm, methodical manner, carefully dismantling the credibility of TechCorp's case. When Hammond took the stand to defend himself, Musk had already anticipated his every move. He caught Hammond in lie after lie, using irrefutable evidence to expose the fraudulent nature of TechCorp's claims. And then, Musk delivered the final blow. He presented a notebook that had been taken from Hammond's office, a notebook that contained damning evidence of the corporate espionage that TechCorp had engaged in. The notebook contained a handwritten note from Hammond himself, outlining the exact plan to steal Musk's technology. The courtroom erupted in disbelief as Musk read aloud from the notebook, laying bare the fraudulent practices of TechCorp. Musk's legal genius had stunned everyone, including Judge Thompson. The judge, who had initially laughed at Musk's apparent incompetence, was now forced to reckon with the evidence and the undeniable brilliance of his strategy. She had watched Musk dismantle TechCorp's case with such precision that it was clear to her, Musk was not just a businessman, he was a force to be reckoned with in the courtroom. She found herself reluctantly impressed by Musk's ability to think outside the box and manipulate the legal system to his advantage. The final verdict came as no surprise. TechCorp's patent was invalidated, and Musk's company was awarded the legal remedy he had requested, a 5-year ban on TechCorp's ability to develop similar technology, along with $20 million in damages. But the victory wasn't just about the money or the legal remedy, it was a win for innovation and the protection of intellectual property. Musk had shown the world that true innovation couldn't be stolen. It had to be earned. Musk's victory sent shockwaves through the tech industry, and it marked a turning point in how corporate espionage would be dealt with in the future. His legal battle was more than just a personal win, it was a victory for anyone who had ever been wronged by corporate giants willing to steal ideas and profit from the hard work of others. And for Musk, it was a reminder that even in the world of high-stakes legal battles, integrity and innovation would always prevail. As the days passed, Elon Musk's strategy began to unfold, revealing a level of calculated brilliance that no one, especially not the high-powered legal team from TechCorp, could have anticipated. What started as an uphill battle, one where Musk had been laughed at for representing himself and fumbling through his opening statements, quickly morphed into a stunning courtroom victory that would shake the tech world. Behind the disorganized papers, the unprepared demeanor, and the seemingly unpolished performance lay a meticulously crafted plan that Musk had orchestrated all along. His strategy, which he had been quietly executing for weeks, was not just about winning a lawsuit, it was about exposing the truth, ensuring that innovation and integrity prevailed, and sending a message to those who believed they could simply steal the work of others. Musk knew that to win the case against TechCorp, he had to outthink them, not just in terms of evidence, but in his understanding of the law and the psychological dynamics of the courtroom. He had expected TechCorp to underestimate him, to think that his lack of legal knowledge would make him an easy target. After all, Musk was known for his ventures in space, electric vehicles, and energy, not for his expertise in patent law. But what they didn't count on was Musk's ability to learn quickly, to outmaneuver even the most experienced lawyers, and to use the system's own rules against them. From the very start, Musk had been careful to play the role of the underdog, the clueless billionaire who didn't know how to present a case. While TechCorp's lawyers presented their evidence, Musk sat quietly, scribbling in his notebook, occasionally raising his hand to ask a question that seemed to be more about confusion than strategy. His opponent, Victor Hammond, the CEO of TechCorp, and his lawyer, John Reeves, looked on smugly, certain that they were about to claim victory. However, as the trial continued, the cracks in TechCorp's case began to show. Musk didn't need to be flashy, he didn't need to raise his voice. Instead, he focused on the one thing they hadn't expected: patience. He understood that sometimes the best way to win wasn't through brute force, but through carefully placing the right pieces on the board at the right time. Musk's breakthrough came when he introduced Priya Nair, the former head of TechCorp's Research and Development Department, as a surprise witness. This wasn't just any witness, it was someone who had inside knowledge of TechCorp's unethical practices. Priya had resigned from the company after discovering that Hammond had instructed her team to copy Musk's designs. She was the key that would unlock the truth. And when she took the stand, her testimony sent shockwaves through the courtroom. Priya revealed that after Hammond's visit to Musk's company, she and her team were ordered to reverse engineer Musk's technology. Hammond had even shown them photographs from his visit and directed them to replicate Musk's proprietary designs as quickly as possible. This wasn't just a patent dispute, it was corporate espionage. But the most stunning part of Musk's defense was the evidence he had been quietly assembling behind the scenes. He had instructed his team to gather every scrap of footage, every document, and every email related to the incident. And when it came time to present his case, Musk revealed a damning series of security videos showing Hammond's assistant secretly taking photographs during the tour of Musk's facility. The footage was clear, and it proved that TechCorp had been spying on Musk's company, trying to steal his technology. But Musk didn't stop there. He had also obtained email chains and internal documents that showed the entire plan to reverse engineer his design, confirming the testimony provided by Priya. As Musk presented this evidence, the courtroom atmosphere shifted. The smugness that had once radiated from Hammond and his team quickly turned to nervousness. They had been outplayed at every turn. TechCorp's legal team, who had been so confident in their case, was now scrambling to find a way to counter Musk's evidence. Musk's calm and methodical approach had exposed the truth in a way that none of them had anticipated. The legal team's earlier arrogance now seemed misplaced. What seemed like a simple case of patent infringement had now transformed into a massive legal defeat for TechCorp. Musk's brilliance wasn't just in the evidence he presented, but in the timing of its release and how he had orchestrated the entire trial to lead to this moment. Judge Thompson, who had initially doubted Musk's ability to navigate the complexities of patent law, was now watching him with growing admiration. Her initial mockery had turned into respect. Musk had played the game on his terms and had used the law to his advantage in a way that few could have anticipated. His decision to represent himself had seemed like a foolish risk, but it had turned out to be a masterstroke. And as the trial neared its conclusion, it was clear that Musk was not just winning the case, he was changing the way people thought about the intersection of law, technology, and innovation. The final verdict was a resounding victory for Musk. TechCorp's patent was invalidated, and Musk's company was awarded the legal remedy he had sought, a 5-year ban on TechCorp's ability to develop similar technology. TechCorp was also ordered to pay $20 million in damages for attempting to infringe on Musk's patent. But for Musk, the victory wasn't just about the money, it was about sending a message to the entire tech industry. It was a message that said, stealing someone's innovation comes with consequences. True innovation cannot be stolen, it must be earned. In the end, Musk's legal genius was not just a matter of understanding the law, it was about understanding the system, the people involved, and the way to turn a courtroom into a stage for justice. His unconventional approach had stunned everyone, from the judge to the media to TechCorp's legal team. And in doing so, he had ensured that his company's innovation, and the work of his team, would be protected from the greed of those who sought to take it for their own. This was a victory not just for Musk, but for anyone who believes in the power of creativity, integrity, and the rule of law. In the weeks following Elon Musk's stunning victory in the courtroom, the tech world watched with bated breath as the case continued to unfold. For Musk, the battle was more than just a legal win, it was a crucial step in ensuring that his company's innovation was protected from corporate giants who believed they could take shortcuts by stealing others' work. Musk had shown that success in business wasn't just about having the best technology, but also about understanding the intricacies of the legal world and using that knowledge to safeguard what had been built from scratch. This victory had a ripple effect that extended far beyond the courtroom. It shifted the way people viewed corporate ethics, intellectual property, and the responsibility that comes with technological power. Musk's strategy, which had seemed risky at the outset, was now being studied by legal experts and business leaders alike. His decision to represent himself, which had drawn ridicule at first, was increasingly seen as a stroke of genius. In his closing arguments, Musk had not only exposed the lies of TechCorp's CEO, Victor Hammond, but had also laid bare the depths of corporate espionage, all while maintaining a calm demeanor. His ability to turn the tables on the highly trained legal teams of TechCorp was a testament to his understanding of both the law and the tech industry. As the legal battle raged on, Musk found himself in constant discussions with his team and legal advisors about the next steps. His initial goal had been to protect his company's intellectual property and to prevent a larger company from copying his designs. But the case had taken on a life of its own. The media had picked up on the trial's high-profile nature, with tech journalists and business reporters filling the courtroom each day. They weren't just interested in the outcome of the case, they were fascinated by the unprecedented legal maneuvering that Musk had employed. His ability to present a case, seemingly unprepared, had kept TechCorp's lawyers on edge. Every piece of evidence Musk presented was meticulously researched, and every legal argument was backed by a thorough understanding of the law. In essence, Musk had used the courtroom as another platform to showcase his own unique brand of innovation. With the case still in the media spotlight, Musk began to reflect on how this victory would impact his future ventures. The courtroom battle had not only secured a legal win, but it had also positioned Musk as a force to be reckoned with in the legal world, a position that many of his peers had never anticipated. And while the victory felt sweet, Musk understood that the real reward was in the long-term impact it would have on his company in his industry. He had sent a clear message to other tech giants: innovation cannot be stolen, and if you try to take what isn't yours, there will be real consequences. Musk's sense of justice, which had been the driving force behind his decision to pursue the case on his own, had also sparked a larger conversation about the role of patents in the modern tech industry. Over the years, the patent system had become increasingly complex, with many companies using it as a tool to suppress competition rather than to protect innovation. Musk, however, had turned the patent system into a weapon for justice. By highlighting the flaws in TechCorp's claims and presenting a well-thought-out legal strategy, he had demonstrated that the law could be used to protect those who truly create, not just those who can afford to litigate. As the ruling was made final, Musk's victory became a symbol of the power of perseverance, innovation, and integrity. He had faced off against one of the largest tech corporations in the world and emerged victorious, not just through brute force, but through careful planning and a deep understanding of both the technology and the law. The impact of the case would be felt for years to come, as it set a precedent for how patent disputes and corporate espionage would be handled in the future. In the world of tech, where ideas and innovations are often the most valuable currency, Musk had sent a clear message: protect your creations at all costs, and never underestimate the power of knowledge. For Musk, this victory wasn't just about winning a legal battle, it was about ensuring that the future of technology would be shaped by those who dared to innovate, rather than by those who sought to take what wasn't theirs. The case had shown the world that true innovation comes from hard work, perseverance, and a willingness to stand up for what's right, even when the odds seem insurmountable. And while the legal battle was over, Musk knew that his journey had only just begun. The future was filled with new challenges, and he was more determined than ever to face them head-on, with the same commitment to innovation, justice, and integrity that had defined his career from the start. In the aftermath of the court case, Elon Musk's victory continued to send shockwaves through the tech world. He had not only secured a significant legal win for his company, but he had also set a new precedent for how corporate espionage and patent theft would be handled in the future. It was a victory for innovation, for the protection of intellectual property, and for anyone who believed in fair competition. What had started as a seemingly straightforward legal battle had grown into something much larger, a fight for the integrity of the tech industry itself. Musk's legal battle with TechCorp had been long and grueling, and he knew that the consequences of this case would resonate far beyond the courtroom. It wasn't just about the $20 million in damages or the 5-year ban TechCorp would face from developing similar technology, it was about sending a message to every company in the tech world that stealing innovations was not acceptable and would come with serious repercussions. For Musk, this fight had been personal. His company, Musk Innovations, had been founded on the principle of creating groundbreaking technologies that would change the world, not just making profits. But when a giant like TechCorp decided to steal one of Musk's innovations and use it as their own, it became clear that it was more than just a business matter, it was a fight for the very soul of technological progress. What had been particularly stunning to many was how Musk had orchestrated the entire case. His decision to represent himself, which many had ridiculed at the beginning, had been part of his genius strategy. By playing the part of the bumbling amateur, Musk had lulled TechCorp's legal team into a false sense of security. They underestimated him, believing that his lack of legal expertise would be his downfall. Instead, Musk used their overconfidence to his advantage. While they focused on their carefully crafted case, Musk had quietly been preparing, studying patent law, reviewing technical documents, and strategizing every move. By the time the trial began, Musk had already anticipated every argument they would make, and he was ready to counter them with precision and foresight. This calculated approach paid off. Musk had presented evidence that TechCorp's patent was not just similar to his company's design, it was a direct copy. He had secured the testimony of a former employee of TechCorp, Priya Nair, who revealed the extent of the corporate espionage that had taken place. Nair's testimony, backed by emails, security footage, and internal memos, painted a clear picture of how TechCorp had stolen Musk's intellectual property. But it wasn't just the evidence that swayed the case, it was Musk's ability to stay calm and composed, even when the pressure was on. Every question he asked, every piece of evidence he presented, was done with a purpose, and it was clear that Musk had thought of everything. His demeanor, once seemingly unprepared, became a symbol of the quiet power of strategic thinking. For Musk, this case was also about setting an example for the future. In a world where the rapid pace of technological advancement often leads to the blurring of ethical lines, Musk had shown that there was still a place for integrity in business. It wasn't just about innovation for the sake of profit, it was about ensuring that those who created new technologies were protected, and that companies couldn't just buy their way to success by copying the hard work of others. Musk's victory was a clear message: innovation should be earned, not stolen, and the law would stand behind those who dared to push the boundaries of what was possible. As Musk looked to the future, he knew that the battle for intellectual property rights was far from over. The tech industry was constantly evolving, and with it, the challenges of protecting innovations would continue. But Musk was undeterred. His experience in the courtroom had only strengthened his resolve. If anything, it had shown him how much was at stake, and how much he was willing to fight for the future of technology. This victory wasn't just a legal win, it was a reaffirmation of the values that had driven Musk from the very beginning: a commitment to doing things the right way, a belief in innovation as the key to progress, and a willingness to stand up against the forces that sought to exploit others' work for their own gain. In the end, Musk's victory in court was more than just about one case, it was about the future of the tech industry itself, and the message it sent to other companies: steal and face the consequences, or innovate and earn your success. As Musk moved forward, it was clear that this case had changed not just his company's trajectory, but the entire tech landscape. And as for Musk, he had once again proven that his ability to think outside the box, and outside the courtroom, was one of his greatest strengths. Elon Musk's victory in the courtroom wasn't just a personal achievement, but a pivotal moment for the tech world. It represented a shift in how patent theft and corporate espionage would be handled in the future. Musk's strategy in the courtroom, initially seen as unorthodox and even foolish by many, had turned out to be brilliant. By choosing to represent himself, Musk not only caught his adversaries off guard, but he also showed that being unprepared on the surface could sometimes be the most strategic approach. His calm and calculated demeanor, despite the public and legal pressure, ultimately led him to expose TechCorp's fraudulent actions. The case itself had far-reaching implications, not only for the companies involved but for the tech industry as a whole. It was a reminder that true innovation could not be achieved by simply copying others. The evidence Musk presented, including emails, security footage, and testimony from a whistleblower, exposed how TechCorp had secretly stolen Musk's technology. The company had taken advantage of a partnership offer to secretly photograph proprietary designs, and later used this stolen information to file a patent. This unethical approach was a blatant disregard for intellectual property rights and the values that fuel the technological progress we rely on today. For Musk, this case was more than just about the financial aspects or the legal victories, it was about making a statement. His focus had always been on creating technology that would improve people's lives, from electric cars to space travel. But seeing his hard work and innovations stolen, Musk knew he had to stand up for his company's creations and the integrity of the tech industry. His relentless pursuit of justice and commitment to innovation ensured that the truth came to light. Musk's victory wasn't only a win for Musk Innovations, it was a win for anyone who believes in fair play, hard work, and the protection of intellectual property. This legal victory also marked a personal transformation for Musk. In the courtroom, he had demonstrated a level of patience and persistence that surprised even his harshest critics. He had used his knowledge of patent law and his understanding of the technology to his advantage, outsmarting even the most experienced attorneys. This case further solidified Musk's reputation as someone who could not only think innovatively but also strategically. He knew how to play the long game, and this legal battle proved that sometimes the greatest victories come from staying calm, focused, and always thinking several steps ahead. The impact of this case was not just felt in the courtroom. Musk's legal win sent a clear message to other tech companies: innovation is something that should be earned, not stolen. It was a moment that reinforced the importance of respecting intellectual property and the groundbreaking work that drives the tech industry forward. For Musk, the battle was over, but the message was clear: protecting innovation is a fight worth winning. The story of Elon Musk's courtroom triumph offers a powerful lesson in perseverance, strategy, and the importance of standing up for what is right. Musk's decision to represent himself in the case initially seemed reckless, but his methodical approach and deep understanding of the technology and the law revealed a hidden brilliance. The lesson here is that sometimes, being underestimated can be a strategic advantage. By appearing unprepared and even fumbling at the start, Musk lured his opponents into a false sense of security, which he used to his advantage later in the case. This story also underscores the value of integrity and innovation. Musk was not simply fighting for money or recognition, he was defending his company's intellectual property and the hard work that went into creating groundbreaking technology. His relentless pursuit of justice and his commitment to protecting his innovations sent a clear message: innovation should be earned, not stolen. It teaches us that the fight for fairness, especially in business and technology, is important. Furthermore, Musk's success in using his knowledge of patent law and his resources to build a case demonstrates the power of self-reliance and determination. Even when the odds were stacked against him, Musk did not back down. Instead, he used his skills and understanding to outsmart those who tried to take advantage of him. The key takeaway here is that with patience, preparation, and a strategic mindset, one can navigate even the toughest challenges and emerge victorious.